Welcome to DT Daily, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Live here from Portland, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, every day, bringing you all kinds of up-to-date news in technology, interviews, lots to talk about, and like I said, we are live on Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook, meaning we can take your feedback, your conversations, your comments, whatever you want to say, go ahead and drop those in there, and we will absolutely get to those today. I'm Greg Nibbler. Coming up on today's show, we've got a couple of great interviews for you. We've got Bianca Della Garza of Garza Digital and Bianca Della Garza Beauty Products. She is going to be talking about how they are reaching their customers through social media platforms, different digital ways to talk to their consumer base directly. We've got Ryan Gist of the Director of Engineering for BioLite, a really cool company making some really cool products, and they're going to be talking about theirs. We've got Jeremy Kaplan, our Editor-in-Chief, with every Friday. He's got his Hear Me Out segment, where he's going to let you know how he feels about whatever the product or topic is this week. I hear it's something about Microsoft, so you'll have to stay tuned for that. Jeremy will do whatever he wants to do with his segment, so you need to stay tuned for it. And right here in studio, I am joined by Luke Larson. Hello, Luke.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being back in here today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Luke's kicking the show off with me, and we're going to be kind of going through our normal things, talking about our headlines and our Read 'em and Weep segment, but then we're going to be talking about the future of MacBook. Obviously a big topic this week of what's happened, so we'll kind of walk you through just briefly what's gone on, but then more importantly, where Luke kind of sees it going, like what the changes, the actual changes in technology that we're going to see are, and it's pretty great. He's got an article up right now, so we'll talk about that here in a minute, but let's get to the headline of the day. So every morning I kind of go through and see what's the big trending topic right now. And today it seems like a lot of people are up in arms about what's going on with HBO. So AT&T, in case you didn't know, has pulled HBO from Dish Network, and that also includes Sling TV, over a dispute. So there's a dispute over pricing, and the interesting thing about this, we've seen this happen with other networks before, but I don't think one quite as big as HBO. Like that's a huge network to pull.
Yeah.
And it's the first time in, I guess, 45 years that the company has been ever pulled from a platform. The big deal is for subscribers to Dish Network, didn't really know it was coming. Just all of a sudden, hey, you wake up and, oh.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Was it in the middle of the night, though?
I don't know what time of day they did it. I guess it was yesterday. I don't have Dish Network myself. But yeah, it was just basically, you don't have that anymore. You've been paying for that, but now you don't get it anymore.
I was just imagining, like, what were people watching when they just,
in the middle of catching up on the deuce. Wait a minute. Yeah, I know. It's totally true. Like, maybe it was in the middle of the programming. Either way, I wanted to see what people think about that, because I do see somebody already, before we even started, talking about how they're upset. Brian says, still mad I don't have HBO on Dish. This is exactly why monopolies are bad. People, this is just the beginning, and that's true, especially with the big content wars and streaming service wars and the big merger that AT&T had with Time Warner. I mean, that's a lot of conglomeration of content in one place, and then you see what's going on with Netflix and Disney pulling some of their programming. There's a big battle happening right now with content.
Yeah, which is weird, just given like how the average person consumes content in all sorts of different ways, but like just considering like Netflix and how people consume it that way, it's almost like in a different world that this things are being pulled and Dish Network and all this kind of stuff. It's just like in a whole different
big battles.
world.
Have you been a cord cutter for a long time?
Yeah. I'm one of those like millennials. I don't even own a TV person.
Oh, okay. What's the television? So how many different services do you subscribe to?
Let's see, Netflix, Hulu. I think those are the only two right now.
So no Amazon Prime?
Okay, Amazon Prime.
But you don't watch the television on there. I get it. I watch a couple of shows on Amazon Prime, but I know it's.
I always forget it. Yeah. I have it.
Yeah, that happens to a lot of people. I think. So yeah, I mean that does seem to be where a lot of people are going. But that's the one thing with HBO. Now I wonder how this is going to affect HBO Now subscriptions. If you can just go around it, or what's going to happen with it. But it is a pretty fascinating story to see where this is all going to end up. If the Comcasts, and the AT&Ts of the world are just going to control everything. Because if they start buying some of the streaming services, boom, we're right back in. Hulu is partially owned by a bunch of them.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of scary to think I think some of us have lived in this little paradise world, and then it is starting to
It's closing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you've had your utopia for this long, but now all those big companies are like, we'll take some of that. We'll take this. We'll take this. Exactly. Yeah, we'll see where it goes, but that's one of the leading stories of just And if you don't have Dish Network, you should probably still pay attention to this story, because just because it didn't affect you this time doesn't mean it's not going to affect you on something else. And, like I said, even for Netflix viewers, just taking a look at how Disney, with the new Disney streaming service, where that's going to go. There's a lot to digest there. We have a show called Between the Streams that's on at a little bit later on today. I'll get you the time here a little bit later, but we'll be discussing that in a little more detail. But drop your comments, your questions. Let us know what you think. All right, we do have another segment here to get to at the top of the show, because we are live, and we want you to know we do take your comments. We do take your feedback, good or bad. We do read them. We read all the comments. So let's take a look right now. It's our segment, Read 'em and Weep, where we pull some of the big ones that we've seen over the last couple of days. And I think I've got 4 here that we're going to be talking about. And the first one that I wanted to bring up here has to do with Spencer Hewlett. Spencer Hewlett wrote that. It doesn't have to do with Spencer, but Spencer did write the comment regarding LED versus LCD TVs. Explained what's the difference. That is a big hit on the site. I think still it's a confusing thing for people. I mean, then you throw in OLED and QLED. I mean, it gets crazy. I've had to have Caleb Dennison explain it to me before. Even though I've read his article, I'm like, no, wait, what's QLED again? Like,
one sentence, break it down.
Yeah, break it down for me. But I think Spencer summed it up perfectly. I finally get it. LED divided by LCD equals LSD. So there it is. So party on, Spencer. All right, so next one that we have here, this is Dogs of Tesla. And this is talking about our interview yesterday. Let's see, he says, hey, that's our Tesla Model X wrapping boring company flame-throwing dude. So that's talking about our great interview yesterday that we had. You can check that out on our replays. And he was fantastic. He was really good. So that's Goon de Garçon. So sorry, I want to make sure I said his name right. Goon de Garçon. It's not safe for work. I'll say that. The interview may not be one you want to play on the loudspeakers. There's no visual things. But if you're playing it on the loudspeaker of the office, you may want to just tune that one down just a little bit. But Goon de Garçon, fantastic. And he loves Tesla. Loves Tesla. So there we go. Let's take a look at our next one. Justin McEwen, talking about the Royal Flex Pi. So this was the big story yesterday, how Samsung and Huawei and LG got beat to the punch, at least to market, with an actual foldable phone. Justin sums it up. It's stupid. If it folds, it's not glass. If it's not glass, it's plastic, and plastic scratches at a level 3 on the Mohs scale. This means your keys will scratch it. No thanks. So there we go. That's how I'm imagining him saying it. That's kind of my interpretation of it. It's stupid. If it folds, it's not glass.
You shouldn't be putting your phone and your keys in the same pocket anyways.
Well, that's true. I mean, you should kind of learn your lesson on that. But also, I mean, I don't think that's much different than any other, phone. So I don't know if that's. I can see it's stupid, and then your argument kind of falls off just a little bit.
He's not here to respond.
He's not here to respond. So I'm just doing this. I'm sure Justin will leave a comment at some point. Would you want a foldable phone?
I'm interested. I'm definitely interested, because I think that you could be protecting whatever's inside, like the old phones, but
right.
Because I always get worried just like having it out in places, and like
I scratch
could get scratched
anyway and break them. So
yeah,
I don't know if it would change anything for me, but yeah, I'd be interested in trying it out.
And if it was like half as small, if it was only this,
yeah, where you just flip it up. So we're going back to flip phones, is what we're doing. Mm-hmm. That's where it's going to end up. All right, the final one we have here is from Spaghetti Monster. Thank you, Spaghetti Monster. Regarding the Porsche Panamera GTS wagon hands-on review. That was Ronan, I think, that did that review. LOL, how bleeping ignorant, I'm trying to think. I think I can probably figure it out. Do you have to be to buy a gas-powered station wagon Porsche? LOL, it's like buying an iPhone at 4 times the price of an Android, which has more features and better quality at a much lower price. Vanity is gross. Well,
I like how he's saying, like, he's so shocked by that when that's literally what
so
much of the world. But
yeah.
You buy an iPhone, like, you're so ignorant.
Stupid. I mean, look, I'm not in the market for a Porsche either, but I would certainly take one if I could afford it. Yes, I would get one. I think we would all take one if we could get it. But there it is. That's the comments that we read from Read 'em and Weep. Just letting you know that we do pay attention to the comments and we do appreciate them. So whatever it is you want to say, let us know. Again, we are live here on I'm getting trolled even by our own digital trends team. So the internet dictator thing is still sticking. So we read the comments. Let us know. we will stay tuned with all of those. All right, let's get on here and talk about, Luke, just talk about, Apple, obviously the big story this week with the new MacBooks, the iPads, everything coming out. Your article kind of discussing the future of MacBook. Before we do that, why don't we just kind of catch everybody up on what changed this week with the new MacBook Air?
Yeah, so what was it, Tuesday, there was an Apple event in New York City, or in Brooklyn actually, but one of the biggest products outside of the iPad Pro was this new MacBook Air. It's a product that hasn't been touched for a long time. People have been waiting for it to come back, and Apple finally brought it back. And brought some, a lot of the features that people have been waiting for a long time.
Yeah.
Retina display.
Yeah, Retina display, which that hadn't been there.
Yeah, the keyboard and the trackpad kind of brought up to the current MacBook Pro. Ports kind of also brought up to the current MacBook Pro. So all these things that were just like things people have been waiting for, and okay, now they're back. The new MacBook Air looks kind of like the new, MacBook Pro or whatever.
Right.
So
which seems like like you're saying, just kind of bringing it up to speed.
Right, and for and that's okay for a an entry level, supposed to be a cheaper version.
Yeah,
and that's fine. So it's getting these features that first came to the more like Pro models, more expensive models. It makes sense, right?
Sure.
But it's a pretty like blasé thing.
It's not like a big
exciting
wow factor.
It's
like,
not,
oh my god, because they also increased the price.
Right, exactly. So and we talked about that. We've been check out the coverage on Digital Trends because we've been talking about it all week.
Yeah.
But so basically, new MacBook Air. They brought it up to speed, but as I was kind of like watching the event and thinking about what Apple's been doing with MacBooks over this whole past year, actually, I've been thinking about this. But basically, I wrote this article. You can check it out. It's imagining what the future will be for the MacBook. Tried to imagine what it would be like if you skipped ahead to 2021, 3 years from now, and just went to the Apple Store, bought whatever MacBook was new and opened it up, and like what that experience would be like.
What are you going to see on that?
Yeah. Given what Apple's been kind of investing in behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I know there's been rumors about what they're doing and all that speculation.
Yeah, so I tried to like take a look at like we've been following like Apple patents a lot in the past year, and also just taking a look at what Apple's actually put into their current MacBooks.
Yeah.
Kind of taking a look at that and like just kind of following the natural progression of logic, like where is this all headed?
Putting it all together and piecing like where this should go.
Yeah, definitely. And if you see the photo that's in the article, it's a concept image that somebody made. But but basically it gives you this idea of like, oh, there's going to be a pretty drastic change happening in the MacBook at some point, and that's kind of what I'm.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Trying to prognosticate what that's going to be.
Right.
So what do you think are the big changes? Like, what are the features we're going to get?
Right. So the big one that I think is controversial. A lot of people are like, either are on one side of the fence, like, oh, that's a horrible idea. I hope they never do that.
Headphone jack.
It's not headphone jack, but that's going to be gone.
Say goodbye to your headphone jack. Yeah, that's one. That's going to be a hard one for me to get used to too. Believe me, I understand that.
That one's coming.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about keyboard, and I just don't. And we looked at a laptop this week on the podcast.
We did, on Trends with Benefits.
That didn't have a keyboard.
Yeah, which is also a real hard concept for me to get over. I mean, I love new technology. I love like catching up on all of that stuff. But the idea of not having the actual physical touch of a keyboard is weird because I don't look at my, I'm not looking down while I'm typing. Like I go a lot by just feeling it.
Yeah, exactly. But I really think that this is probably, and again, there is stuff to back this up. There's patents that Apple's been looking into ways to replace the keyboard. And I mean, it goes beyond just like their patents. I mean, just look at, like I have the MacBook Pro here.
Yeah, turn it around. So just taking a look here at the
keyboard and the trackpad, right?
Yeah, the trackpad is huge on here.
Trackpad is huge, and the keyboard has extremely small low travel. So it's like, it's barely moving at all as it currently is. And this is from, last year.
I'm just going to press a bunch of buttons.
Very different from a
like what I have.
Like, what you have on
where you have the
more
huge. Yeah.
And that's typically what people prefer, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Apple's already kind of investing in this like super low travel kind of keyboard.
Like where they're just trying to get you ready for this.
Totally.
Like, almost they're training you to get used to this.
Yeah, and the other obvious thing is the touch bar, right? Like the touch bar is again a really controversial thing that when it came out. But like if you think about it this way, Apple is already replacing part of the keyboard with a screen.
Yeah. It's just like, it's almost like stepping stones.
Totally, yeah. And I think a lot of people, they see the touch bar or have used it and like, I don't like that thing. Personally, I don't like it either, really.
So you don't utilize it?
I don't find it very useful. I'm always like trying to turn down the volume, and then it's like I have to like go into start
change it
around.
all up. Yeah.
But a big part of that is because there's no like haptic feedback, right?
Uh-huh.
Like you touch it, it doesn't do it doesn't feel like anything. So you have to always be looking at it for it to function, right? And I was showing you right before the show, like the trackpad, another example of where the current Mac technology is, like doesn't, it's not an actual, there's no travel in it at all.
Which I admit, like the way they have the feedback going with there, it does feel like you're actually pushing it down.
Right.
So you do get that sensation that you're touching something, and I actually hadn't done that before, and it is pretty impressive.
Yeah. And most people don't even know, like, because they just buy it and they just assume it because
you assume you're actually physically pushing down that. So that I think is going to be a big thing for people to get used to. But this is a good way to kind of stepping stone into that.
Right.
So you're thinking, though, they're going to get rid of the entire keyboard. Like,
right.
We're talking about just like 2 screens or?
2 screens. It's not hard to imagine like the touch bar being stretched. Basically, think about it this way. Touch bar stretched down to replace the whole keyboard and touchpad.
Uh-huh.
And then underneath that haptic engine that's creating that false or like that fake feeling of actual like feedback.
That actual touch.
So it's like those two technologies like put in one place to replace the whole keyboard.
I mean, that does kind of make sense, of seeing where it would go. I know they had even like a code name for it. I was looking for what they're calling this. What was the code name?
Project Star,
Project Star, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Where, this is obviously, speculation that we're talking about here as far as what it, codename Project Star internally, and saying that this next one, again, this is reading, your article that you had put up, but, and talking about how it would always be connected to the internet, like that was another thing, which I can definitely see that.
Yeah, and that's something we're already seeing a lot in laptops this year. 2018, it's just been like more and more laptops are coming out with built-in LTE. And that I think eventually that's just going to become the norm. Like I don't 3 years from now, like no stretch of the imagination that will become the norm.
That you'll have 2 screens. That makes sense, and connected to 5G. More proliferation of 5G. Anything else in particular?
So the one other big part that I talk about is the fact that, and you might remember this story, but Apple has been investing in, Apple's always been investing in their own processors because their iPhones and iPads all run on their own processors. Right. But there was this story, do you remember the story back when there was a report that they were in Portland, in Beaverton, in like Hillsborough area, like trying to reach out to Intel employees and try to build a little,
try to poach some people off.
Yeah. So like I know that Apple is
picturing that is funny. Just like some guy in a coffee shop. Hey, buddy, like slide an Apple card over to him. Like,
Tim
let's
Cook.
talk. Yeah. Tim Cook with a fake mustache on.
So yeah, it's now again no stretch of the imagination to me that Apple will these next MacBooks that come out maybe it's 5 years, but I think it's probably closer to 3 years. Will be running not on Intel processors but on Apple's own processors.
Wow.
They've had so much success with the iPad and the.
And that's true. And seeing what they've done just with the iPad now, the new iPad Pro, and taking all of so many hints from their iPhones. And using that kind of model.
And there was a report even today that the iPad Pro was being benchmarked, kind of early benchmarks were coming out, and it was like almost as fast as a MacBook Pro. So it's like, Apple inside is like, man, if only we could just like get our own. And there's a lot of stumbling blocks in the way for that, but that's what they want. They want control over their device, full control over their devices.
Which makes sense. That's how you're going to make money, and then you control everything from start to finish with it.
Totally.
Well, the article is fascinating. You can check it out at digitaltrends.com. And Luke, I know you've been getting a bunch of feedback on Twitter, interesting feedback from some people. So a lot of people saying, this looks crazy, or some people disagreeing how it's going to go, or agreeing and taking it further. It's getting a lot of traction on there. I highly suggest reading that article, digitaltrends.com. So Luke, thanks for bringing us up to speed. It's fun. I love thinking about this kind of stuff of where we're going to go. All right, for everybody who's watching live right now, coming up later on in the show, we're going to be talking to Ryan Gist of BioLite. We've got Jeremy Kaplan with his Hear Me Out segment, and we have a giveaway, a $100 Amazon gift card giveaway that is coming up later on today, and you will have a chance to win that when you see the code that goes up on the screen. I didn't get a chance to, earlier in the day to say yesterday's winner. Yesterday's winner was Alan Smith. So congratulations to Alan Smith for winning that. Stay tuned. You did it, buddy. But you'd get a $100 Amazon gift card. So that's coming up here in a minute. And now what we're going to do is head to our New York studio. So our New York studio, we've got Brenda Stolier sitting there with Bianca Della Garza right now to talk about what Garza Digital and what Bianca's doing with her platforms to reach her consumers. Hello, New York.
Thanks, Greg. So yeah, we're here live from our New York City office. We're joined by Bianca today, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Brenda. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, so Greg gave a little bit of an intro beforehand, but if you want to just give us the quick lowdown on your beauty line and your media platform.
Yeah, of course. So I spent my whole career telling stories. I was a journalist for many years, and then I had a late night talk show that was syndicated in 20 million homes in the US. And growing up in linear television, it's been really amazing to kind of see how we have new media. When I first started seeing the signals of this and where things were going and the trends, you really had to embrace it. And the people who have done successful and great things, and the people who kind of want to believe it's not happening, well, they're getting left in the dark, as we know. So, digital platforms here to stay. Obviously, it's not just a way we consume content now, as I'm seeing with my line that I just launched. So, I'm seeing it as a way where we shop, where we talk, where me now as a founder of a beauty line can have a direct pipeline with my consumers. So when we talk about digital content, we know there's an abundance of it. So my mission at Garza Digital, which is my production company, is to really create content that's going to inform you, entertain you, but also be a catalyst to have a conversation that is going into the future, that's having an impact on humanity.
Right. So I want to kind of, talk about that social media platform that you have. When you first started your line specifically, how would you say that there's a ton of brands out there that are on social media that are building their voice and their kind of stance within this world to distinguish themselves. How would you say that your line specifically, is unique among all the other brands?
And it's a great question because everyone has a voice now. And so when I was growing up and using beauty products, I couldn't call Estee Lauder, right? I'm not going to reach the head of, development for MAC, right? But this is beauty like we've never seen it before. So a few years ago, after coming off my syndicated late night show, I wanted to create a product that wasn't so heavy on my face. So that was really the ethos of my company. Less is more, you are enough. So In Glow We Trust was born, and it's this serum that I created and the line we have coming out now. And basically, as a woman, as a mom, as a Latina, I think beauty should be fun and playful, but I also think beauty should be not just fed to us by mainstream media. So to get to your question, now when I have my Instagram followers and they can DM me and say what they're looking for, what they like, what they don't like, I, as a founder, can now go, okay, my end users here, and they're on a global platform. What do they want? And I can know their needs and I can anticipate their needs, and we can actually build something together, which for me is so much cooler than we've ever been able to do before. And I feel that for many years I was on TV, it was like, you have to look this way. This is your persona. And we are bombarded with images digitally, socially. And a lot of it is curated and Instagram, and we don't know what's real, and they're filtered. So for and say, are we having a real conversation with somebody? And that's what I love, that this digital platform and Instagram, for me particularly, I've really been able to communicate directly with the women who I see using my product, who are loving it.
Right. And is there a platform that you prefer to interact with them? I know with Instagram we have DMs. I mean, on Twitter we always have a messaging platform, but is there one where you feel like you get the best feedback?
I mean, they're all great for certain uses, right? And it's like you have, things that are your go-tos in the morning. You're going to check this, you're going to do that, and then you always have to, see, who's saying what, who's responding on what platform, and obviously, you want to get to everyone and respond. Personally, I find that with beauty and with the conversation we're having, Instagram's a great pipeline for me, because the images I see from people and what I can share, I feel are so elevated and beautiful, and also accessible. And I think that it's easy. And I want people to feel that beauty should be exciting. Beauty shouldn't be something where we're told to cover up. And that's sort of been what's so unfortunate over the years, is that we always look at a magazine and we see these people who are beautiful and airbrushed, and it's not how anybody looks. I don't look like this. I came in here and I put lipstick on and makeup because I'm on camera. camera. And I think we really need to let women define what beautiful is for themselves and say, who gets to do it? Well, we get to do it. How do we celebrate it? And men are part of this conversation too, Brenda. I think men can do a huge grade of good in the beauty industry because they're going to tell their girlfriends, you don't have to put so much stuff on your face. And wow, like my morning routine got simpler, and I'm saving money because I'm not buying all this stuff. And I think what we are able to do now with technology, with social platforms, is have a real honest conversation. That's the conversation I want to be driving for Bianca Della Garza Beauty, is that we need people to feel good about themselves, enhance their inner glow, and not be preyed upon. Mm-hmm. Because beauty can be very challenging because we grew up thinking it's one way, and then our moms put on lipstick, or how do we shape what we think about beauty?
Right.
And then, so it may be geographically, if you grew up in, Europe, you're going to think beauty's one way. If you're French, if you grew up in India, you're going to have a whole other beauty ritual, right? So then we get out into the world, though, and no matter what, we get bombarded with media images. So it's deciphering that, and that's where things get a little tricky. And my passion really is letting women really be bold and fearless with their expression of themselves.
Yeah, and I think we're really entering that time where it's finally okay. I think when Instagram first launched, we had filters and more filters and editing and all these apps that let you just not look like your authentic self. So with that being said, where do you see your line going in the future, now knowing that we are embracing this, more natural beauty?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think it's great because it lets young girls who are forming their thoughts about beauty and wrapped up in their self-esteem, it lets them feel good that they don't have to be perfect. It releases a lot of the stigma, or they don't have to rush out. It's all about intentionality, but it also lets older women, their moms, feel okay about, like, no, I'm not going to say this is anti-aging. We do not say that at my line. We say, that's a battle we're not going to win. Why would we waste 1 ounce of energy to try and we're all getting older. I mean, since this interview began, we're already older. Right. So let's stop trying to, waste our energy on a conversation that isn't relevant. So for me, I think it's beautiful that we see, celebrities going natural and not wearing so much makeup, because we're like, oh my gosh, you're a real person. Thank you. You're just like me. Right. And everyone wants to be validated. Everyone wants to feel good about themselves. Beauty can do that, but it can also not do that. So I think the more messaging that we can flood into the ethers of, like, be who you are, be fearless in your self-expression, know who you are. This young generation of women, I feel like they need to know this message, grasp it, hold on to it when they're 18, when they're 28, because what a great army of women we'll have there. Because I'll tell you, that self-esteem, and if you feel good about yourself without putting anything on, that's something no cosmetic line can sell you. And we need to buy that self-love in huge doses for ourselves, because we're not going to find it on a shelf in a beauty counter, and we're not going to find it, on Instagram. So we have to generate a message through our digital platforms of this innate self-love.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, being aware of that now, I think it was kind of hard to point. People didn't really want to point it out, but I think with brands like yours, we're getting there. So
thank you so much. Well, it's important, and I think that being a woman in the world is not, it's our own set of challenges. And I think that I look at anything and say, what am I doing to drive a conversation that helps humanity and helps us feel more connected, not disconnected? Right. I don't want people to feel like they can't be that person that they see on Instagram. It's like, no, you can be who you want to be. You can express. Beauty is a way to express yourself. I mean, beauty is the least superficial thing we can really talk about. It's not just a tutorial on YouTube. Beauty is art. It's music. It's seeing someone across a room and going, like, I'm really attracted to that person. Like, that's life energy. Beauty is like what is the universal tug at all of us. And that's why I think the subject has to be elevated to what it is, which is complex, but also joyful.
So where can people find you to be able to be this inspired?
Oh, well, you can find me over on Instagram.
Yeah, you tell the viewers your handle so they can follow you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's at Bianca Della Garza Beauty and at Bianca Della Garza Official. And I have a website that obviously we do newsletters and things like that. But I think the real bottom line is like, let's have an honest conversation about beauty and let people feel good about themselves. And if you want to go and you want to wear a lot of makeup, that's okay too. If you want to go get plastic surgery, that's okay. I'm not saying we should just drop the judgment. And as long as people are doing it with a clear intention and not feeling they have to conform to a mass media standard of beauty, which is unrealistic, we should be totally cool with that.
Agreed. Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks
I
for
love
coming
the
to
show,
our
and
office.
it's like such cutting edge stuff. So we
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you
Thanks.
having us here
Yeah,
in New York.
So we're going to cut to a commercial break, but be sure to stay tuned. We got plenty more stuff coming at you.
Yeah, have a beautiful day.
Back here with more digital trends in the Portland studio. Big thank you to Bianca De La Garza. Fantastic interview. Great job by Brenda. And we're going to be heading back to New York here in just a couple of minutes to check in with Jeremy Kaplan, our editor-in-chief, to hear for his segment Hear Me Out, where Jeremy's going to discuss whatever he wants to talk about. Like I said, I believe it's Microsoft, but I'm going to let Jeremy handle that one. He's always entertaining, so we'll be right back here in a second with more of that. Since we're here in Portland, though, right now, we did have one other news item that I wanted to bring up as we have some headlines from today. We talked earlier about just how HBO excuse me, is going to be leaving some different platforms. And we do have another story that's kind of trending right now, talking about Amazon. Amazon going to their brick and mortar stores that they've been working on. And right now they've got a second 4-star store that they're going to be opening up. So if you don't know what the 4-star store is, it's essentially they take the best of the best off of Amazon and put them into a physical store. Why you would want to go on to those, I'm not exactly sure, but they've got one in New York. I'm curious what people think. If you would actually go shop at something like that, let us know. But the second one is going to be opening up in Denver, Colorado. So Denver, you're going to get the opportunity to go to an Amazon 4-star store here very shortly. All right. Also, on the show, we've got a giveaway coming up, a $100 Amazon gift card giveaway that we'll be doing, so stay tuned for that, and our interview with Ryan Gist of BioLite, which is a great, great product. We'll be talking about that. But now, I believe it is time to head to New York, so we're going to be clicking over to that, so our New York studio over there. I know Jeremy's just getting ready to talk about his Hear Me Out segment, and Jeremy, hello.
I'm sorry. I'm frantically writing notes. I'm a note taker. That's what I do. I have notes like this that cover my desk, and this is how I keep track of things. And as the editor-in-chief of Digital Trends, and as a very digital guy, look, I got my smartphone here, my smartwatch. I got my smartphone here. I am ashamed about this note-taking thing. It's a habit I've had my whole life. Little scraps of paper, backs of envelopes, napkins. I know, it's shameful, especially because at Digital Trends we have a great list of productivity apps, the best productivity apps for iPhones, for Android. There are a million ways that technology can solve this problem. So recently I set out to do that. I said, I'm going to get off of this nonsense and I'm going to find a better solution. And I instantly ran into a massive, unbeatable obstacle, Microsoft. Microsoft has mucked up to-do lists on a scale that is simply epic. And it's unfortunate because this is what Microsoft does, productivity tools. And yet they have such a profound obstacle that they've created for people trying to do productivity. It's astonishing. Hear me out. I'll walk you through it. A year and a half ago, the engineers rolled out a beta of Microsoft To Do, which was Microsoft's replacement for Wunderlist, which was one of the most popular to-do list apps around. Microsoft bought it back in 2015. 2015, closing in on 4 years ago. Wunderlist is still pretty decent and actually has a lot of really great integrations into a variety of parts of Microsoft Light. But Microsoft announced when they bought it, they had very clear plans. They were going to suck all of the life out of it and then put a gun to its head and drop it in an unmarked grave in the back of Redmond, behind engineering building number 14. My words, they said it a little nicer. They said, once we've incorporated the best of Wunderlist into Microsoft To Do, we will retire Wunderlist. It reads a little better my way. Anyway, To Do seems to be the way to go, so I signed up for To Do a few weeks ago and started replacing all of my post-it notes and my scrap pieces of paper with Microsoft To Do. It's a decent program, it really is. But pretty immediately, you run into the issue of Microsoft, which, like a little bit of salmonella, has contaminated all of the different products that Microsoft makes, like the output from a factory that is suddenly ruined. Let's start by talking about Cortana. Cortana is Microsoft's answer to Siri. It is supposed to be Microsoft's feature voice assistant. Click that little microphone icon next to Cortana in your taskbar in Windows and say, Microsoft, build me a Thanksgiving to-do list. And Cortana will instantly do that for you in Wunderlist. Remember Wunderlist, the program that they bought almost 4 years ago? Yeah, there isn't any integration with Microsoft To Do. The Wunderlist integration was rolled out in 2016. Microsoft still hasn't gotten around to replacing that. I asked Microsoft a week ago what the plan was for integrating Cortana and To Do. And I asked them again every single day since then. Microsoft has declined to provide any information for this story. Yeah, that's not good. But change is coming. At a big October event just a few weeks back, Microsoft announced a whole bunch of integrations and plans for fixing that. For example, they announced an integration between Microsoft To Do and Outlook. This is the greatest thing that you could ask for, right? Outlook is the thing that we all use every day, right? America runs on Dunkin', but then it runs into the office where we use Outlook. Microsoft announced plans to integrate To Do directly into Outlook. So you get an email from your boss that says, hey, Jeremy, get me those sales figures by Thursday. You drag that email to a far column, and it automatically creates a task, which automatically syncs with To Do and keeps that reminder front and center in front of you. This would be phenomenal if it worked. The integration has not come out yet, and when it does come out, it's going to come out for Outlook.com, which is not the version of Outlook that you use. There are, I don't know, 3 or 4 dozen versions of Outlook. The one that you use is a desktop version. This is the web-only version. Microsoft said at some point in November or possibly December, other versions of Outlook online are going to get this integration. There's no answer when it's coming to the desktop version of Outlook or if. I asked Microsoft, and needless to say, they said it's not coming. But if you guessed that there's a Wunderlist integration, you're right. The program that Microsoft bought and is killing can do all of this functionality right now. The other thing Microsoft announced in October is Microsoft Launcher version 5.0, which is Microsoft's, I'm not going to show it to you, it's the launcher replacement for the Android platform, which has actually become a fairly productive and useful tool. One of the greatest things about this new version of it, announced literally 4 weeks ago, To Do integration. The same to-do list that you've created is built directly into your Android phone. Scroll one page to the side and there it is. All of your notes, all of your tasks. This sounds like yet another great idea, except for it's a different version of Microsoft To Do. It's built on the exact same engine as the application. It looks exactly the same, but it doesn't have the same lists and they don't talk to each other. It does talk to Wunderlist, of course. What kind of a company builds 2 versions of the same software and packs it into one platform? Well, Microsoft does. Actually, they've been doing that with Windows for years. There were 2 versions of Internet Explorer, and then there was Edge, so there were 3 versions of Internet browsers on the Windows platform for a long time. They did the same thing with OneNote, their signature productivity application. 2 different versions included on Windows. And by the way, coming back to the To Do app, can you use To Do in OneNote? No, you can't. Does it integrate with Windows? No, it does not. Does it talk to Word or Excel or any of the other programs that Microsoft uses? No, it doesn't. Listen, Microsoft, you got a great program. You got a great idea. You had this Wunderlist thing that everyone liked. To-do looks nice. You need to build yourself a to-do list to fix this program. But take a hint from yourself. Don't do it in Microsoft To Do. I would build that to-do list in Wunderlist. That's my take. That's all I got to say. But stick with us here at Digital Trends. We got a lot more coming at you. We're going to cut away to a commercial break right now, but stick around. We'll be back shortly.
Back to Portland, here with DT Daily. This is what I love about this show. We have our studio in New York, where we have guests in there. We have our guests here in Portland. We can be everywhere at once, and we're all over the internet, of course, taking your comments, your questions, broadcasting live, and it's so much fun to be here with all of you every morning. So if you have comments, questions, let us know. I know a lot of people are discussing Jeremy's segment there about Wunderlist or the Wunderlist, excuse me, Wunderlist, and everything else that he was talking about with that. It was a lot of conversations going on there. I guess I'm gonna have to try it out or take his advice and figure out what to do with that side of it. We do have a $100 Amazon gift card giveaway coming up. I want to remind everybody of that, and we're going to be heading back to New York here in just a couple of seconds, because what we're going to do is have Brenda back in studio to talk to our next guest. Now, if you're a fan of digital trends and a lot of our articles, especially in the emerging tech category, we have had a lot of products from BioLite on there. Now, BioLite, if you don't know, makes really incredible products, kind of thinking through ordinary things in ways that most people haven't approached before, like a different manufacturing process, a different way of thinking about camping in particular. You've probably seen their camping stove. You've seen some of the other amazing things that they've got. And we've got their Director of Engineering, Ryan Gist, who's going to be joining us here with Brenda in New York to talk about their newest product. I believe it's a headlamp. He's got it there. So we're going straight to New York right now with Brenda and Ryan.
Are we not going to see that?
Thanks, Greg. So yeah, we're back in New York, this time with a different guest. So we've got Ryan from BioLite. Greg gave us another, quick little intro, but if you want to just get into your mission as a company and why you're here, why you make the products that you do.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I'm Ryan. I'm the engineering director at BioLite. And at BioLite, we make personal scale off-grid energy products. And we make those products for two different markets that we serve. One is an outdoor recreation market. So we make products for backpackers, campers, people that are in disaster preparedness situations. And then we have another side of the business that focuses on emerging markets. So people are off-grid because they live there. Primarily, the customers we serve are off-grid in rural parts of sub-Saharan Africa.
Nice.
And so we try to focus on something we call parallel innovation, which is to take core technologies and core product features and apply them to both sides of that business. So we find a lot of the problems you're trying to solve or a lot of the use cases that you find are very similar, whether you're off-grid for recreation or because you live there.
Very cool.
Yeah, and you mentioned the mission statement.
Yes.
I wanted to get into that a little bit because the company is really focused on the social impact side of our business, which is where we focus in emerging markets. And we build energy personal scale energy products that span cooking and lighting and charging. We have solar products, battery storage products. So we're solving lots of big problems. But sort of the most acute global problem that we recognized when the founders were putting the company together was the problem of indoor air pollution. And it's an incredible, over 3 billion people still cook on smoky open fires inside their homes. And most of these people are off-grid in emerging markets areas. And the people breathe this harmful smoke. It's got carbon monoxide, it's got particulate matter, and so over 4 million people die every year from indoor air pollution. And so our founders came up with a really ingenious design for a wood-burning stove that's able to take some of the waste heat in the cooking process and turn that into electricity, which is great. You can use the electricity for lighting. You can use it to charge mobile phones, which is something that lots of folks in emerging markets are starting to have access to. But also, and importantly, you can use some of that energy to power a fan. And the fan can bring the oxygen that the fire needs to burn completely and efficiently. So you can really reduce all that smoke. Our stoves can reduce smoke by 90%,
Nice.
which completely changes the health impact inside.
And is that what you?
Yeah, so we've actually, this is a
You can
product
pick it
that I
up
brought.
on
I guess
the
I'll
table,
pick
yeah.
it
You
up.
got a cool
It's a little big
product.
and it may block my view a little bit, but this is the fire pit, and this is one of our newest products in our recreation space. And it's basically a scaled up version of the stove that I just described to you.
Okay.
In this product, you're able to have like a full-scale social gathering fire pit. You can also do cooking with it. So it's a really great sort of multi-functional piece of kit, and it's a real workhorse. We take it every year. The company does a big camping trip up at Lake George.
Oh, nice.
We bring the whole company and we camp out for several days, and we do all of our social fire pit gathering around this product. We also do all of our cooking on the product. And it was designed, again, with that forced air injection so that you can get oxygen into the parts of the fire that need it to burn really smoke-free. And it's great. After a week of camping with this thing, you normally come home after camping and you've got your sleeping bag and all your clothes smell like smoke.
Right.
You don't get that with this product.
Right.
It's really great. It makes for a really enjoyable
Can you
experience.
take me through the steps only because I'm not that familiar with camping? Growing up in New York and New
Sure.
Jersey, there's not much room.
Yep.
So can you take me through the steps of like, you're going camping, you pack it, you get there, you unpack your stuff. What do you do?
Yeah, so it'll burn the same cordwood that you normally would burn in the ring fire pit at your
Okay.
campsite. And the other thing that the air injection gets for you is a little bit of improvement in terms of the starting. Sometimes that's the hardest part about a fire is getting the kindling going and starting the process.
Right.
If you bring a little bit of air into the beginning of that, it makes it a lot easier. And the fire pit's not just for camping. It's just as well suited for sitting in your backyard. A lot of people now have fire pits, either gas or wood burning fire pits in their backyard, and it's great for that as well. It's great for tailgating. We've taken it to the beach for just a day at the beach. And as I said before, it's also a cooking device. So there's a grill grate that sits on the top here.
Okay.
And you can either use wood and burn that wood down until you have wood char
Okay.
to cook over, or you can use charcoal, just like you would in your normal Weber charcoal grill.
Nice. So setup is just as usual. You
Yep.
Just add all
Yeah,
your
the legs fold up. I won't show you because
Right.
we've got a small table here, but
Okay.
the legs fold up. And if you go to our website, there's also an available carrying cover case,
Oh, nice.
which does two functions. One, it's a great rain cover for the product. The product comes with its own rain cover, but it's an advanced version of that rain cover that has a solar panel built in. And so that's a great way, if you're using this in your backyard or for a long camping trip, it's a great way to keep this power pack recharged and fresh. And the power pack not only powers the fan, but it's also an energy storage bank. So if you have other devices that you need to charge off grid, there's 40 watt hours of storage, which is a ton of storage.
Nice.
It's like 10 phone charges. This thing will run on the low fan setting for over 24 hours. On the max fan setting, it'll run for over 5 hours.
Great. And what is the price point on that one?
This is $199.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
I
and
brought a couple other products.
yeah, if you want to just go through them.
Yeah, sure. So some of our other newer products, as I said before, the company builds products in sort of three categories: cooking, charging, and lighting. And
Right.
so we've got the cooking side we just talked about. Charging, we've got an array of solar panels that are generators to generate the electricity. And then on the lighting side is how we efficiently use that electricity. So when you're off grid, lighting is a sort of core necessity.
Right.
And so I brought two products here. One is our latest launch, which is something I'm really excited about.
Is this the headlamp? Can
Yeah,
I
this
try
is
it
our
on?
headlamp. Yeah, you can definitely try it on.
Okay. How do I
It
do
comes
this?
in, so this is the front where the light
Okay.
is, and the back is where the battery pack is, and that's actually Yeah.
So literally just like this?
Yep. And then
Okay,
there's a little
I'm
button on
not
the
sure
top.
how this looks. Okay. I'm not sure how I look right now in this outfit, but
I think it's pretty sweet. So what we did, we've taken sort of a unique approach to the headlamp. We look at headlamps today when you go to the store to buy one, and they're all basically the same. It's a big clunky brick that's cantilevered off of an elastic band. And we thought there's got to be a better way, right? Electronics are getting better, LEDs are getting better, battery technology is getting more dense. So how can we pack the full brightness?
that
You
is
found
bright,
it.
people.
I'll turn the
Okay.
strobe off because that's kind of annoying.
Ooh, wow.
There's a
that's
spotlight, a floodlight, and a red light for nighttime.
Oh,
which might be the best
cool.
on
Like when you
camera.
have to go to the bathroom and
Right.
stuff?
But you just saw the white light is extremely bright. There's 330 lumens
That's
packed
pretty
into this
bright,
thing,
yeah.
which is a really tiny form factor on the front of your head.
Like-
And what we've done is integrated the electronics and the plastics right into the fabric and the soft goods. So it's a very slim, compact, very comfortable headlamp, and we've balanced the weight between the lamp portion and the battery portion on the front and back of your head to give you a really comfortable fit.
Yeah, it is. It's really comfortable. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing anything at all. I thought it would be a little heavy, but you don't
You
feel
don't notice
it
it at
at all. So just don't press that button while you're looking
When you're looking at it.
straight at the light. Super cool. And then we have one more right
Yeah, I'll
here.
show you the sunlight real quick. So I just want to show you packaging. There's
Nice.
these are two colors, the gray and the teal. There's also a yellow and a red
Oh, cool.
headlamp as
Cool.
well. And you can see all those on the website. And then this thing that's been kind of going in party mode in the background as we've been
I've
talking.
actually used that before.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, we call this little guy the sunlight.
Yeah.
And this is a really exciting, compact product. It's a lantern that can be set to white ambient light, so you can just set it on the table and use it. It's got a hanger for the nighttime if you want to put it in your tent and light
I
your
was just,
tent
yeah.
that way.
The one time I did go camping, I did use that in a tent, and it's very useful.
Yeah, it's super useful, and it's such a compact little form factor. You can turn this off and shove it into any of your pockets or little
Right.
pouches on your backpack. And then we saw there's some other color modes as well, and you can select a color that you like, or you can go all the way into this color fading party mode, and that's something that's kind of cool to do. We just had a bunch of people carve their Halloween pumpkins, their jack-o'-lanterns,
put
and you
them
put
in
this in
there.
party mode and then stick it inside rather than
Nice.
rather than a candle, and it works.
Very cool.
But
Well,
it's
that's-
just a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one's that's great. These are all really cool.
Yeah, and we call it the sunlight because it's got a solar panel built right in.
Oh,
So
nice.
this has got battery storage inside. You can charge it before your trip,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll run for, I believe, 20 hours on the lowest setting. And then if it runs down, you just use the solar panel to get it charged back up. And it's got this convenient little stand with something we call the sundial here, which helps you align it perfectly to the sun. And then you get it nice and recharged and can use it that night.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, so do you wanna tell our viewers where they can find all these great products?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the quickest place is biolitenergy.com. That's our website. We're available through REI Cabela's Bass Pro Shop as well if you want to go look at things in person. And I think you can find us on Amazon for a lot of the products as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to visit our New York office and showing us all these cool things. But
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
yeah, of course. We're gonna throw it back to Greg right now in Portland, who's gonna wrap it up and give that giveaway away. So thanks, guys.
All right, thanks Brendan and Ryan. That was great. I really want a BioLite stove, so if there's an extra one laying around, feel free to send it to Portland. But otherwise, great interview. So many cool things, and thanks everybody for tuning in to DT Daily. Like we say it every day, we've got different things going on with this show, different interviews. This week's been fantastic. So many different things that you can check out just in the back catalogs of DT Daily. And also, every day we've been doing a giveaway, a $100 Amazon gift card that we are giving away. We've been doing it every day so far, and we've got one for you today. So once the monster giveaway code comes up, now it's a $100 giveaway. Every day it changes for me too. So the email code is BioLiteMyFire, which is, I'm just going to say it again, BioLiteMyFire. And what you need to do is email dtdaily@digitaltrends.com right now with that email code. Be the 10th emailer, and you will win a $100 Amazon gift card, and we'll tell you who won on Monday. So you have to tune in on Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, to find out if you won that gift card. Looking over what we talked about today, we had Luke on in the beginning talking about just the future of MacBooks and where he sees all of them going. We've got a great article up that he wrote just kind of prognosticating what he thinks is going to happen with that. You can check that out at digitaltrends.com. Let's see. We talked about HBO and HBO being yanked from a lot of different services when it comes to Dish Network and the big fights that are going on with that. Again, a lot of things going on at digitaltrends.com that you can check out. Just kind of also talking about that. I know Ryan Juanita has a bunch of articles up, and a couple of other people talking about the streaming wars and how that's going to affect us. Moving on, we had, so many different things today. We had, like I said, Luke, we had Bianca Della Garza talking about Garza Digital and what they're doing with their platforms and how she's reaching out to different people. That interview will be up on its own at some point later on today, but you can always just roll back and watch DT Daily again. Just watch it over and over all day long. You can do that. Bianca Della Garza, and then we had Jeremy Kaplan's Hear Me Out segment, which I have to say his intro to that segment was great. It even threw me off. I thought something was wrong when he looked there all worried. It was a solid move. Solid move on Jeremy's part. It was great. That whole segment is fantastic. So Jeremy Kaplan, check out his Hear Me Out segment. And wrapping it up there, of course, we had Ryan Gist from BioLite. So many things. And next week, I know I keep saying that, but there's a lot. There's a lot that happens with this show, and we really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Wherever you're watching us right now, hit subscribe. That way you know every time we're on. DT Live, we have so much programming that happens, and we do have coming up later today, Between the Streams, our show about movies and entertainment, where we'll catch you up to date on everything that's happening with that. I know Ryan had a great interview with Jermaine Clement. Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords. So that's going to be played as well. And thanks, everybody, for tuning into DT Daily every day. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for your comments, your questions, everything that you've got. Keep those coming in. Tune in back here Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern for more DT Daily. Have a great weekend.